Australia's population ballooned by a record 660,000 people in the year to September as nearly 550,000 migrants joined us from overseas. And it's showing no sign of slowing down anytime soon. Big Australia is getting even bigger, with the number of temporary visas issued by the Albanese government hitting a record high in the first quarter of the year, meaning 1 in every 30 people in Australia in March 2024 was on either a student visa or a graduate visa. Joining me now is Leith Van Onselen, co-founder and chief economist of Macro Business. Leith, always good to speak with you. Thanks for joining us. So how many visas have actually been issued?
Yeah, look, these numbers are absolutely off the charts, Danica. So the Department of Home Affairs has released data to March on temporary student visa holders, and we've got about 2.8 million temporary visa holders in the country as of March. And once you exclude visitors, which is probably the more fairer comparison, we've got just over 2.4 million. Now, that is up around 300,000 year on year, and it's up almost 500,000 from the pre-pandemic peak. So these are numbers that are completely off the charts. We've got records broken just across nearly every single visa category. And obviously, as you said, the student visas and graduate visas, got about 860,000 of them in the country. That's about 1 in 30 Australians. And temporary visas as a total, if you exclude visitors, roughly 1 in 11 people in Australia right now is on one of those temporary visas. So these numbers are just ridiculous. And what they basically say is that the record high net overseas migration that we saw last year seems to seemingly carried into the new year, and we're still running at migration numbers that are close to record levels.
Well, you're right. These numbers are absolutely off the charts. How much longer can Australia afford to keep this up for?
Yeah, look, it's a good question. I mean, I'm surprised there isn't absolute, revolt in the streets about this, given that, what it's doing to the rental market. So obviously, we are in an unprecedented rental crisis here. We've got rental vacancy rates at record lows. We've got 10 cities forming in places like Brisbane, in the Queensland Premier's own electorate. We've got rents going through the roof, obviously, and people being forced to live in group housing. Now, that's really the tip of the spear of this problem. It's the most visible problem. It's the rental crisis. And unfortunately, if they keep running population growth at a level that's higher than we can build homes, the rental crisis is just going to keep getting worse, as will traffic congestion and all those other things.
Well, this is a thing. I mean, home values are still rising across the country, and record immigration is putting upwards pressure on home prices in most markets. Where in particular is this having an impact, Leith?
Oh, it's having an impact across the board. I mean, pretty much, we've got rents soaring across the nation, and we've also got home prices that are going up across the nation. Now, presently at this point in time, it's actually most vicious in the smaller major capitals. So we're talking about, Perth, Brisbane, Adelaide. But Sydney is also seeing huge growth since the start of the pandemic. Melbourne saw less because its population shrunk at the beginning of the pandemic and its economy is in a funk. But by and large, this migration story has pushed up home prices, it's pushed up rents, it's made housing less affordable for everybody.